Hello and welcome along to the Where's My Kit Bag podcast here, hosted to you by the three lovely media technicians here at the Sixth Form College in Farnborough, starring myself, James.
Me, Will.
And me, Steve.
So, another week has happened. Another week has gone by. More Game of Thrones has happened. Lots of things are going on.
Yes.
Isn't it exciting? Anything exciting happening with you two?
Well, we had the bank holidays of the Mondays.
But is it me, or does it feel like there's every day's a bank holiday?
I'm loving it. It's well good.
Can't argue.
Can we always have 4-day working weeks, please?
I'm sure the students liked it too, having only 4 days at the college. Unless they came in on Monday.
It's the best. It's the best feeling ever.
I went to see Longshot. With that Seth Rogen. It was pretty good, I have to say.
Out of 10?
I'd give it a solid 8, I think. I really enjoyed it. Aside from the couple sitting next to us, with one guy licking his fingers through half the film.
Ugh.
And then they proceeded to just have a full-on conversation.
Oh, that's a bit
After
weird.
many shushes from the audience. They didn't get removed or anything, but we thought we were going to complain, but we probably should have done, really. It was annoying.
Imagine being removed
I'd
from a
like
cinema.
to see it again without the finger-licking experience.
Oh. So you could say it was finger-licking bad.
Yes, yeah.
Nice. I'll take that.
Nasty.
I'm full of terrible puns. That's why I'm here. So, Stevie Kale, have you got any TechNet news for me?
Well, I think it's a running theme that there is, again, no upload to the TechNet YouTube channel. But...
Or is there?
Oh my god, there is. Oh my god.
Curveball.
Wait, what?
Cut the violin.
Scratch
No,
the record.
No. Right. We need some applause here.
There is. Oh my god, yes. So, I probably would have figured that out when I told everyone what we're up to. So, we're currently in the process of putting together social media for Fleet Film. And we've been interviewing the shortlisted filmmakers. And we'll be going about sticking their short, bite-sized interviews on social media. And as of this week, we've actually had Rouge. Rouge's interview is currently on the TechNet YouTube channel. So if you want to know a little bit about the film Squircle, go and check it out. Yeah, it's a really nice little animation. And if you want to know more, stay tuned to the Instagram at F6 Media Film, and we'll be hosting. They get 3 tiles each as of maybe tomorrow, maybe
Hopefully,
next week. Yeah. Where basically they'll have a little feature, a little bit about the film, maybe a screenshot, their short bite-sized interview, and they kind of get a bit of exposure, which would be quite nice in preparation for Fleet Film. On top of that, what else are we up to in the TechNet? Again, still working on the awards, which is very top secret as of now. But Fleet Film's coming along nicely. So it's been a very busy but productive week over in the Technicians Hub.
Nice.
There you go.
Subtle plugs. I like it.
So we will actually have uploads for the next few weeks.
Hey.
Which is pretty good.
We now have
This is
an
good.
apostrophe, don't we, on our sign?
Yes.
That's
thank
big
you.
news.
Was
Who
that
did that?
Aiden or was that?
Yeah, I think it was Aiden.
It was Aiden.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed that. Yeah,
Hadn't noticed.
basically some of the students were like, we've had enough of this. It needs punctuation. So they've now added
Technicians' Hub.
they've now added an apostrophe to the end of the S.
Yep.
Okay.
With a Sharpie.
Yeah.
So
Nice. Well, I didn't know
hopefully,
this. So.
nor did I. No, to be fair, I haven't even looked, to be honest.
I was there when it happened. I was like, it's still quite a small apostrophe. Please match the font.
Big news.
Big news from TechNet. We have an apostrophe.
What student did it?
It was I think Brett and Aiden collectively were just kind of looking at it and wincing a lot. And then Aiden was like, "Do you have a Sharpie?" And I was like, "Yes." He was like, "May I borrow?" I'm like, "As long as you don't ruin it."
Well, fair enough. Well, I didn't notice. So there you go.
Well,
again,
clearly it's made an impact to some students.
That's all that matters. That's what I was going to say. Shout out to them for making
a difference.
Yeah, the department more friendly and correct.
The grammar police can stop.
Yep.
That they can rest well tonight. Anyway, right. So we do have some tech news on the agenda. Mr. Will Devereux, tell us more.
Hello. So first thing to kick us off, Google had their I/O event where they live stream it. They talk about their latest products coming up for the year, their sort of plans, how they're going to tackle things such as folding phones and the software and all that sort of gubbins. it was really cool. They did it on the same stage as before. The guest speakers were great. Quite a few interesting products got announced, and they're tackling the phone market in a bit of a different way. So, Google have been... I don't know where they kind of sit in the phone market, to be honest. They're quite niche, I'd say. Some people love their products. A lot of people have chosen to go with like Amazon's home products rather than Google's. Yet Google, they're still trying to put loads of technology functionality into it. Personally, I'm not a big fan of owning those sort of home products. I know a lot of... I think we talked about it before, didn't we? About them listening in, and obviously some of them got webcams and stuff. They've obviously listened, so their new, I think it's the Home Max, has got a switch on the back that when you flick it, it physically disconnects the webcam and the microphone internally. So no matter what application, it can't. Once you put that switch on, there's no way it can be used, which is quite nice. It's quite nice knowing that. Well, I don't know if it's a placebo and then it secretly does. Who knows?
If anything, they've turned it on.
Yeah.
The irony.
Oh my.
So sly.
But the big announcement that's kind of shaking up the phone industry at the moment is the announcement. I'm not a big fan of the naming. It's the Pixel 3a. So their original Pixel 3 retails for about £800-900. Quite expensive. There's also the XL version. But what it's known for is having the best camera on any smartphone, period. And that's the kind of title they're holding with. Obviously, they had the big thing with when the first Pixel came out, like no headphone jack, like, oh, they're going to be screwed. No one's going to like it. So with the 3A, they've actually brought the headphone jack back, which a lot of people are happy about. Which is weird because it's not on the more expensive 3 now. So it's like undermining their own product, but hey, who cares? And they've kept the same camera from the 3, so you're getting the best quality camera. However, they've lowered the specs internally, which I'm not too fussed about. It's still got 4 gigs of RAM and still runs games and stuff if you want to, if you're into that. And it's got an OLED screen, so that's
nice.
Sort of like Samsung standard, better resolution than the iPhones, and even the top one. And they stuck a £399 price tag on it, which is
pretty good.
Like half the price of any of the competitors. And like if you want to get a really good phone, because phones nowadays, like I know the iPhone can shoot 4K 60 on it, which is pretty impressive.
Jesus.
Yes, it's a small sensor, but they're doing a lot of image processing. And if you're uploading to YouTube, you can definitely use an iPhone to do recordings on. The fact that you can now get a camera of this quality it's almost got night vision. If you see this night mode it's incredible. It somehow adds light that just isn't there and doesn't add grain. For $399, it's pretty damn good.
Sounds a fairly good steal, that.
Yeah, and if you buy it from any of the UK retailers, you do get, at the moment, I think until sort of mid-June, you get a free gift with it. So I checked on Carphone Warehouse, you get a free Chromebook with it, which is worth £199.
Pretty good.
And you're like, well, okay.
Just for buying it through them.
Literally. You don't have to get any add-ons or anything. You can buy the phone outright or in contract and you get that. And I think with EE, you get one of the Google Homes, the one with the screen on and the speakers at the bottom.
Google Nest Hub Max
That's
is
the
its
one.
new name.
Right, yeah.
Not calling it Google Home anymore for some reason.
Which is meant to show, so you can talk to it and say, oh, what have I got on today? And sort of schedule stuff with it.
And it can play you videos.
Yeah.
It's basically like a mini Chromecast.
Yeah, and you can call people on it and stuff, which is pretty cool. I don't think I'd use that. I'm pretty I'm in the market for a new phone. I'm currently waiting to see what the OnePlus 7 comes out, which should be in next week's podcast we talk about.
14th of May is their announcement date,
so
but then I don't know when the release date is of it from there.
Okay, well, we'll have to see.
But we will see.
I'm sure that we'll come up with a podcast.
It's normally quite quick after they announce it.
So I'm going to see what sort of price bracket that falls into. But personally, for my phone, it's pretty much just Messenger. I use it most of the time. Maybe a bit of Instagram now and then.
Bit of the gram.
Yeah.
But even still, Instagram's lacking on Android at the moment, so it's really frustrating.
Yeah. Oh, you saying about the thumbnail?
Yeah, beautiful resolutions, and then because it's not coded or whatever adapted to Android as nicely, it just lacks.
I never knew that until. Do you want to explain a bit more about that? Because you showed me that.
Yeah.
And quite
so obviously, us all being videographers and photographers and creating what we want to be aesthetically pleasing media. So you won't notice this when you're actually on the feed option, but if you go on someone's page and you have the overview grid, the grid isn't actually fully rendered, so it's actually all blurry.
Oh.
Not if you then look at the same interface on an iPhone, it is crisp, like crystal clear crisp.
That's the thing. I didn't notice until we compared them side by side.
And then you put them side by side. Oh my god, does the resolution lag on grid mode on a profile? It is not nice.
Well, it's the
They've
same.
never fixed
Yeah,
it.
it's the same thing with Snapchat. Because Snapchat's optimized to Apple.
Optimized, that's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
because when you click on a picture, it takes a little while for it to go like clear.
pop up.
It's like a little.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any issues when you're on the feed or when you're looking at the image when you've gone onto it, but a lot of people take pride in what their grid looks like. So
Yeah.
when you're on an Android, it's a bit like,
That's really odd.
yeah, weird thing to know. Can't unsee it. Any Android users?
No, I now will always notice this.
It's
Thanks,
just, I
Steve.
really wish that Instagram. Surely it's an easy fix. They could fix doing it. It makes such a difference to content creators, because they're essentially diluting the quality of their work to half the market, arguably. So it's an interesting one.
Yeah, it was, like I said, the same thing with Snapchat. Because Apple's optimized to it, so it just feeds straight to the camera. But for whatever reason, on Android phones, it captures the screen of the camera rather than feeding into the camera. That's why it always feels a bit laggy and not quite crisp.
Yeah.
And the autofocus is a bit off. Where on iPhone, it's just like perfect. It's because it's running through the screen. Oddly enough, I don't know if that's something they can ever change. You'd think they'd changed it by now after the billions they're worth.
Yep.
So maybe it's not.
I think I may have broken my phone's camera.
Oh, what, fully? It just doesn't work anymore?
No, it works. I just have to violently shake it to make it focus. It's really weird. I think I've dropped it one too many times and tried to catch it with my foot, and not obviously volleyed it, but kind of like caught it down. Like I thought it was like Mesut Ozil or someone. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I was trying it, playing with the other day. I'm going, why aren't you focusing? Why aren't you focusing? You're in the focal range, like pressing wild on the screen. And I just violently shook it, and I was like, oh, it's fine now.
Well, I've been using the.
It's really weird.
Since
I'm also in the market for a new phone now too.
Well, there you go. Since the event, I've been trying to use the Hey Google feature. It's probably gonna.
The OK Google.
Yeah. And it's
Where's
awesome.
my kit bag? Yeah.
It's so good.
Yep.
It learns sort of like I told it my place of work, and then while I was driving in, I was like, oh, how long till I get to work? What have I got on today? You can change Spotify playlists or pick a song or stuff like that with it.
Yep.
Yeah, I used it before I got the radio installed in my car. That's how I'd use. I'd literally be driving along and you'd shout, "Hey Google," and then it'd blink, and then you'd like play this on Spotify. The only problem is if you didn't get it perfect, if you didn't understand your command correctly, I then had to tap the screen to kind of get rid of it.
Okay, so you think it needs like a driving mode almost?
Essentially, yeah, because obviously Apple's interface and Siri is a lot better for their driving interface. But for those easy everyday things,
it was awesome.
shouting,
I didn't
"Hey
realise
Google,"
how clever it was.
It's really
See,
clever.
that runs off the same system the Google Home runs through.
Yeah, so you tell your phone and then it automatically links up with that.
One of my friends has got one of the old Google Home hubs, the little speaker that looks like a plant vase. And he's often like, okay, Google, play this. And then you can get confused if too many people talk at it. Because I just started talking at it in a weird accent just to really like mess up his Google Home.
Though
I was so bad, but it worked for a little bit. It really got confused and thought my voice was his, and was just really like, sorry, I don't quite catch that. No, I don't know what that is. Playing Rickroll by Rick Astley.
I think the Alexa's slightly beating it for how well it.
Oh yeah,
I've never actually used an Alexa.
You can play Skyrim on an Alexa.
That's wrong.
If any of you have an Alexa, ask it, say whatever you say to an Alexa, and then say play Skyrim, and it starts a game of Skyrim.
What?
It's like a D&D asking you questions.
No
and,
way.
And you play, and it's really progressive. So my girlfriend's family have them. Sorry to quickly tell you the story.
Yeah, go for it.
I love it.
And he
Keep
invited
going.
me through. He went, listen to this. And he went, hey, Alexa, whatever, play Skyrim. 45 minutes later, I walked back through, and Jade was so angry. She was like, why are you so long? I was like, got to a level 5 mage. What do you mean? That wasn't my response, but give it a go. Any Alexa owners, and obviously controlling lights and stuff is really quite cool. It's quite
How about
lights to 40%?
we judge it on its joke capabilities?
Ask what does the fox say?
That's a Siri thing.
Oh no, Google does it too.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Google does do it.
Okay, well, let's just ask it to do a joke.
All right,
and we'll see how it
live,
goes. Okay,
see if
here we
this
go.
works.
Let's see if this works. All right. Hey Google, tell me a joke.
Here we go. Saw a fellow chatting up a cheetah. I thought, well, I never. He's trying to pull a fast one.
What the hell?
random lion noise. Wow.
That was quite good.
Trying to pull a fast one. That's quite
There we
clever.
go. All
I
right,
like that.
we're
That's
gonna have
good.
to test each one's jokes capabilities
It's a
individually.
shame we don't have an iPhone, because then we could do
Yeah.
one each week and then pick one, do
Who
a
knows?
tally.
Well, someone had
Actually,
that-
I've got
well,
a,
Amazon,
I have got a spare iPhone at home. So
bring it in.
next
Bring it
week.
in for
Next
Siri.
week, Siri on the show with the joke.
Siri on the show.
Joke of the week.
Next week, guest star Siri.
I like how it filled the silence at the end
Bum,
with the sound. I think it was just. I think we were all expecting to go, and then it kind of threw that sound.
Or just
effect in
like a
as
single
curveball.
clap.
Yeah.
Yes.
What a good way to end off tech
Wow.
news.
That's nice. That's nice. I like that. Top banana. Otherwise, coming up now, it's Tune of the Week. This week, I picked it last week again. I keep doing this where I seem to pick up a song on like Wednesday or Thursday and go, oh, I should have picked that one. But then I'm like, I can just use it for next week. So this week's track of the week is Of Monsters and Men, not to be confused with Of Mice and Men, the popular novel. And it's a track called Alligator. And it's so damn good. And the video is friggin' incredible.
It's gonna
Is
snap
it not
'em up.
Will? Is it not Will Devereaux?
Oh my days!
The
Steve,
video is.
You need to watch this video.
amazing.
We
It's
sat
so
and looked at
good.
it for about 10 minutes, thinking, how on earth has this guy filmed it?
We played it on loop like
Oh
about 4
my-
times.
it is
it's so good.
beautiful.
The song's great, and the video just makes it better.
We've come down to think it's basically a camera in water upside down, and then the guy's dropping things through the surface of the water. It's not just like ink and stuff. What was it? He was like,
It was like
sugar and-
gels, oils, food colorings.
oh my goodness!
Even said like deodorant. I was like, okay, bit weird, but
It was
fine.
jaw dropping.
Wow.
It's so trippy.
No meaning or anything
gorgeous.
behind it, just in terms of like visual spectacle.
Visual engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's doing the
Oh,
right
It's,
job.
Yeah.
Imagine a lava lamp,
But
way
cooler.
Yeah,
Okay,
a lava
interesting.
lamp,
Yeah.
but with way
It
cooler
was
colors.
awesome.
So it's called Of Monsters and Men Alligator. I had to look up who the videographer was. It's a Dutch man. I cannot remember his name for the life of me. But he's
Water
made,
ballet, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
but I think it's water-ballet.com, and you'll find his stuff. And he's done some like soundtracks for other like projects and things, and he's just made these kind of gorgeous looking. It kind of looks like yeah, you know when you've got those kind of space renders of alien planets and it's all kind of gooey. That
Cool.
it
I'll check it
really
out.
is
That
cool.
sounds
It's
And then,
really
like,
cool.
Sometimes it zooms in on certain bits and gets more detail.
Yeah,
You're like, how have you done that with a
Yeah.
camera? So, yeah, I don't.
it's
It
a
feels
really
like it's
good
all
one to watch.
CG, but it's
Okay.
It's legit,
but it's not.
It is legit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And
Oh, you
beside
know
the
it's
point-
legit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
wow.
We looked the guy up, and he definitely is legit.
Yeah.
Although I could not find a video anywhere of him behind the scenes, which really annoyed me.
Well, then you
so
kind
I
of
will
guess he
keep searching.
kind of loses his USP then,
Yeah.
doesn't
Very
he?
true.
A magician never reveals
The
his tricks.
secrets. Yeah,
Secrets, sorry.
that's true.
Makes sense. I'm excited.
But yeah, the song otherwise really nice, good rock track. If you know Of Monsters and Men, it's slightly more rocky than some of their previous stuff, which I quite like. So yeah, it's called Alligator Of Monsters and Men. We'll link the video with the trippy lava lamp-esque visuals for you to love and enjoy. Because me and Will loved it yesterday, and I'll show you later, Steve. And you
Cool.
can be like, OMG.
If you're
This is
listening to
great.
this after Friday lunchtime, if you go on the newsletter, you can actually just press on the title and it will take you straight to the YouTube video.
Oh.
Way.
So do
my
that.
days.
Yeah, if you will, yeah. So while you're listening to this, you could like have an intermediate pause
Yeah.
and go and crack on, have a look at it.
If only had like elevator music. I'd be like, play that now.
So there you go. Hyperlinked newsletter.
Steve's new favourite thing
I
in the
know.
whole world.
Likewise, if you want to do with the podcast, I'm going to hyperlink the podcast to the title as well.
Oh, you're so
I'm going to do it all. The whole thing's going to be interactive soon.
Oh.
Do you-
Hopefully.
just
Interactive
a throwback
newsletter,
of, just
OMG.
of
Hello.
like clicking on a page. Any of you
Whoa.
play Club Penguin?
A very long time
I
ago,
never
yeah.
did actually. Never played Club
Just
Penguin.
a little throwback.
Neopets.
You used to be able
though.
to go into
Ooh.
the shop, right? And there's a catalogue of clothes you could buy for your penguin. However, if you spam clicked the whole page, there was like 2 or 3 little bits on there where you can click and you get a secret item every week.
Wow.
I feel like you need to incorporate that. You need to make just a random hyperlink somewhere, which takes them to like,
Like
a...
just a
what,
random
that's white. Like
No,
a
just
white
a random full
No, like
stop.
it doesn't look like anything. Like it'll just be a space on the page.
Interesting.
But then when you hover over it, the hyperlink cursor appears. Bam.
I like that.
Take them to the Rick Roll video.
Nice. I'm definitely going to do that. I'm 100% doing that.
Or it could be just like a full stop.
So,
Something really
alright,
inconspicuous.
How about it could be a little Easter egg for our podcast listeners.
Yes.
If you can find the little link.
And the first one to
Get a
come
little
and
video.
tell me what the video is, or whatever quote, or whatever Easter egg, it'll be fairly obvious. Come and tell one of us, and we'll give you a TechNet badge. I don't know.
Oh,
Nice. Oh,
wow.
prices.
A
Prices
TechNet
on
badge.
offer.
Woo.
Prizes, yeah.
Steve is throwing out the big guns.
I found my little stash of badges.
Bam.
So yeah,
Um,
that's a good idea. I like
That's
that.
nice. I like that. So yeah, secret newsletters, links everywhere. Check out of Monsters and Men Alligator. Watch that video. Love the song. Love the video. Boom.
Cool.
Nice. Good track of the week this week. Very pleased. Very happy. Otherwise, that moves us on to the mighty film of the week.
I suppose I'm asking you guys the question
You are
now.
Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Do it. Take
What-
my role.
What were your thoughts on The Ritual?
I watched
Kick us off.
I watched half an hour of it last night and then an hour of it this morning before I got to work. So it is very fresh in my mind, and I do
Interesting.
not recommend watching that watching it half asleep and then like, oh, and then this morning when you kind of half awake, you're like, oh.
What scene did you turn off last night?
Oh god, it was the bit when they were in the house
Okay.
and they were just kind of like doing up the shoes, like after obviously all the incidents
After they've
happened.
had the nightmares.
Yeah, after they
night
had the
terrors.
nightmares.
God, I wouldn't have been
yeah.
able to go to bed straight after that.
Oh,
I
no.
know.
I was just kinda like,
That was a bit traumatic.
Pause. I played some music to calm me down. It was fine. Otherwise, I mean, as a whole, I don't really watch horrors that often. I don't
Nor
mind
do
horrors. I mean, obviously, as a breakfast horror buff that I am, I only seem to be
Evidently.
able to watch them in the mornings. And no, I mean, I liked it as a whole. It reminded me a bit of Bird Box at times, where you kind of
Interesting.
couldn't see the kind of creature taking them, or obviously doing stuff to people and animals and things. So I thought it was quite good where they weren't revealing it in that kind of way for
Yep.
quite some time. Also a bit like The Quiet Place as well, where they didn't reveal the monster for quite some time. And then obviously it's this weird kind of, obviously # spoiler alert. I should probably just play it, shouldn't I? Yeah. There it is. It reminded me a bit of that, where you didn't see the weird kind of like stag antler god weird ent
It's an
elf
interesting,
creature.
interesting topic. I did some reading into it afterwards. It's actually inspired by Viking mythology, but it isn't
Ooh.
actually a real thing.
Oh,
So it's entirely fictional, which I quite like. A lot
Yeah.
of the stuff that I'm quite interested in horrors and their backstories and stuff, and I enjoyed that this one was just mostly fictional and more. Well, it was entirely fictional and just inspired by
yeah.
Viking mythology and
I mean,
gods and stuff.
I don't think if I'm ever in Sweden, I'm never going in a Swedish wood. I think they've ruined their own tourism there for Swedish wood tours. So yeah, I mean, otherwise as a whole, I like the film. I thought it was quite nice. It was fairly well paced. I didn't think there was any moment where it was like really dragging their heels along. There weren't too many sort of like jump scare, which
Yeah,
some
I like
horrors
that.
like to force into you. It was
Yeah.
more sort of thought, bit more. I wouldn't say psychological, but kind of more going that way.
Yeah. I feel like it's arguably psychological with the protagonist.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he has like lots of things going on, but I did quite like the scene right at the end where they're just kind of screaming at each other.
I like
Ah!
that. Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah. I
It's
think
kind of like almost start asserting dominance. But yeah, very odd kind of cult feel. Otherwise, as a whole, I did not mind it.
I thought it was quite original personally.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed it.
Will, what did you think?
Yeah, a bit like you. I don't really watch horrors that often. Not because I don't like it, but I don't. For me, they don't give me much back in terms of a viewing experience. But I know that's what horrors struggle with, because they're there to give you sort of that in the moment emotional reaction, and it's very hard to get a narrative at the same time. So fair play. And I think this did a really good job up until sort of like the last quarter of the film for me. Actors, I just want to give a shout out to them. Phenomenal. What a casting. I thought they were
they work really well together.
all of them.
Yeah,
all,
absolutely.
All four of the main characters, brilliant. I couldn't really say one was worse than the other. They were all worked really well, completely believable as friends. I really liked the character development as well. I felt like they started the sort of like walking scenes before the forest. They tried to set it up to give you the sort of like stereotypical, well, here's the alpha male of the group, here's the like the brains of it, but it's a bit annoying, and then you've kind of got the guilty one. And then as you go through, especially after the nightmare sequence, you see the guy get up and he's like, wet his pants. And he's like, that's meant to be like the sort of leader of the group. And and then you think they're like, oh, hang on a minute, something's actually gone a bit astray. For me, I didn't know where to put my suspension of disbelief in the film until sort of towards the end. Because of like, it was confusing, but I don't know, for me, not in a good way, where obviously they kind of foreshadow with like when they see the deer obviously hanging up on the trees. You know a human can't do that. So that's cool. And then you get to the house, you're like, okay, it's a house, a human made that, and the signs, the human must have done that. But then he gets the mark on his chest, and you're like, hang on a second, that's not really a human thing. So for me, it was conflicting back and forth between like what the whole thing is, which was cool, but I was spending more time thinking, is this a magic thing or is this a real thing?
I like that.
So, but when you got to the end, you kind of like, there's the scene where he goes up and sees like the altar with all the like crippling, decaying bodies, but they're still praying. You see that scene and you think, oh man, that's kind of crazy. And obviously they're exchanging the sacrifices and the prayer rituals to the god, in order for eternal life. So that was cool. Loads of like, they did so well with the areas they're in. If you think they're literally in
a forest in the middle of nowhere.
The cinematography was amazing.
That's how you film a forest.
Kids. That was amazing. Obviously, towards the end of the film, they start running up the cutaway shots because it does start looking a bit of the same. But through the hills and the initial forest scenes, I thought it was really, really nice.
I mean, Sweden's got gorgeous landscapes.
Characters were great. The ending was like,
it was. I would agree.
Okay.
It was okay. But I think without becoming a cult film, by that I mean like, you know, your actual cult films, it didn't really have anywhere else to go. It kind of had to have that kind of ending of that could be arguably cliche, because I did think he did turn slightly action man for the last 15 minutes, which was a slight break of character, but you know, you could obviously argue that he had nothing left to live for, whatever. But you know, I still think the type of character he was, I would have preferred it more if they all just passed and it stayed there, and you knew it was always there, and there was nothing they could do. It's an unbeatable force, etc.
I think I wanted, when it started, I was really happy that they got into the sort of like Sweden. They got into Sweden so quickly. I'm glad they didn't hang around. Then as it progressed, I wanted more context as to, like, there must have been a reason for these four guys to just randomly end up in this forest. Obviously, not just being his wishes to go there. You know, I thought there needs to be a bit more than that. But for me, the bits where they integrated the forest and the shop.
The art direction.
Oh my
incredible!
Goodness,
That
was
really
seamless.
Me.
And they like somehow managed to put like the shop lights just go doof doof doof, you know, in a row. That was awesome. They were like really cool spectacle moments that I can remember quite vividly.
I think that's what I liked about the, as you say, with sometimes they can't be as engaging. I thought it was a real testament to, I think I remember I said last week, for anybody who's listening to them pretty much back to back, was I said I felt like I could relate. I was around roughly the same age. Obviously, you know, it's a bit slightly exaggerated, but you know, if I was to ever experience something like that, as dark as that was, you know, slight hallucinations and feelings of regret and stuff could be, you know, slightly glamorized in the film, but at the same time it could be quite
it felt real,
which is nice. I really felt pity for him because he didn't have the, you know, the bravery to tackle that situation. But at the same time, I think a lot of people can stand there and go, oh yeah, well, I'll do this, I'll do that, but when in the heat of the moment, when, you know, when push comes to shove, I think a lot of people will be tested, and may even come out with the same reaction. I mean, I would be as far to say I would probably come out with the same reaction. Who knows, you know? You never can tell to that moment, and you wish that no one else, you obviously wish that no one ever experiences that thing, but I think it was quite raw in that respect, and how he mentally dealt with it was quite nice. I quite enjoyed that. I think they tackled that very, very well and made you really question how you would deal with it honestly, I think is what I'm trying to say, rather than be Mr. Macho, which is quite nice. I like that.
What would you give it out of 10, James?
I'd give it a solid 7.
Yeah, I'm done that. I can't give it any higher because, as we say, the ending has its cliches and etc. And it wasn't groundbreaking. It wasn't really original. It was just a very well made British horror.
Yeah,
that I liked. You know, so you know, I'm with you on a 7.
I'm about to say, like, because I haven't seen sort of like the bad horrors and stuff like that. For me, I was comparing it to like a film, like a narrative-driven film. And when I got to the end, I felt like I wasn't, like the journey hadn't finished, or like I didn't get anything from it. So for me, I'd give it a 6. I think.
Okay.
I do agree. I do feel because the film could have been pushed to maybe 1 hour 50 with an extra 20 minutes of him getting back to the UK. That would have been quite interesting.
Oh, kind of like a Resolute.
Yeah,
it's
like
almost him having to go around going, "I'm sorry, your husband's dead," etc.
Anything of him adapting back to normal life or anything, even if
it's basically his friendship group has been destroyed.
Yeah,
like.
Oh, absolutely.
No, absolutely crippled.
Even if it was one of those scenes of, you know, it was always with him if he walked down a high street, or
just
something
like
that.
how would he tell people of this event?
Yeah.
Just almost a bit like PTSD.
Yeah, they got killed by
really?
a god.
Yeah,
like an elk creature. Yeah,
I don't know. Just something, some sort of closure back in the UK. Even if it's as cliche as this sounds, he went and really practiced faith or something like that. You know, really, it's like life changing. Became a different man when he came back. I don't know, clutching at straws there, but just something, some sort of resolution,
a bit of a resolve,
a new equilibrium,
Ooh.
essentially.
Ooh.
So there you
like
go.
That.
That's a good suggestion, though. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah,
no worries.
What are we going to watch next week?
Well,
this is the question.
I would quite like to challenge you both to watch Long Shot. I think
Long Shot.
Yeah.
Still in cinemas.
Still in cinemas.
Nice.
The availability is still quite good now that the Avenger hype's kind of dying down a little bit. And
I'm seeing it tonight.
There's actually other stuff on at the cinema now.
Yep. The wall-to-wall Avenger screening.
I'd really like to talk about that. I think it'd be quite cool to talk about.
Long Shot.
Yeah.
Steve, shall we set up a cinema date?
I think that's a good idea.
Nice. We'll find a day we're free and we'll do it.
Yep, we'll go after college or something.
Nice.
Sounds like a plan.
Cool.
Nice.
Look forward to that.
There we go. Well, we'll go in with our notepads, our pens. sorry. No. Just hear scribbling pens instead of ruffling popcorn.
Oh.
So, do we want to talk Game of Thrones or do we not?
Let's have a little segment. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's have
Game of Thrones episode 4. Obviously, post-battle thoughts of the room. Well, we'll keep it short and sweet because not quite. I thought quite a lot happened, but not a lot happened.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
The thing I felt was they've made these longer episodes, but the content within them I feel like's dragged out. I think it's all building up Daenerys' character, but I think they're trying to do a whole sort of thing. How long have we known Daenerys for? 7 seasons as the person who's trying to get over to Westeros, the breaker of chains, and they're trying to change her complete mentality in an episode.
Yeah.
I don't know if is that because of the battle they're showing it's taken such a toll. But for me, it feels so rushed and pushed upon me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Just primarily on the fact of there's a change of scene, which in older seasons would have been scenes, like plural scenes slotted in between, where they talk about what their plan would be in the north in Winterfell, and then instantly they're at Dragonstone. Instantly, the next scene they're already there, and I'm like, where's that bridge of time? Usually you make that really well thought out with scenes in between, maybe even cut to King's Landing, anything, but bang, oh my god, we're already at Dragonstone. That's the furthest south part of Westeros, if I'm correct, if I'm right in saying that.
Yes.
Either way, it's a long journey, and they've just up and done it. And then that was my only criticism, is I really enjoyed, it wasn't quite Breaking Bad in its pacing and how slow it was, but it was still
more of a build-up rather than we're here now. We're here now.
I felt like they filmed sort of like an hour of the episode and they were like, oh damn, we need to get to the point where we need to chop her head off.
We need some filler.
Yeah, it's like No, well, I think they ran out. Like, almost felt like they ran out of time. And it's like, how do we got to get her there. We have to let the obviously spoilers. But we played spoilers before. That's fine. And then the dragon dies, and then that causes the boats to be destroyed, and then she gets captured, and then they go to the talks, and Tyrion has the talk with her.
Yeah.
Then that happens right at the end of the episode, all squashed into one, like Steve says, because they rush down there.
Is it Rhaegar, the dragon? Is that his name?
Or Drogon? Oh, what?
Drogon.
The one that went down.
The one that went down. That should have been the end of the episode, because I didn't.
Drogo,
I didn't care. It wasn't as emotionally charging as the first dragon death, or that's a huge swing in momentum.
Yeah, that was like,
and it was just as you say, it was just.
She's gone from 3 down to 1 now.
Even if they added one more episode and the same content happened, they just dragged it out a bit more and started.
They lingered on stuff that didn't need to be lingered, and then the important things they brushed over.
Yeah,
I think,
because it happened so quickly.
Because what I thought, obviously when the dragon went down, obviously Dan's like, no, my baby, or whatever. You've got like a whole fleet of ships firing arrows at the kind of unsullied fleet, as it were. And then the Unsullied fleet did not retort in any way. Like, obviously, I don't know if they got no cannons or anything, but
they don't have scorpions, do they?
Yeah, but then obviously you've got the same thing, like obviously Steve's saying, that you've just kind of fast warped to then all the ships are destroyed and they're being washed up on the beach, and it's like, well, where was Melisandre being captured? Or
absolutely,
Missandei, sorry. How did the Unsullied actually get to that island? Because looking at the distance from the ship to the island, that's a hefty swim.
Yeah,
that is a hefty swim.
And again,
why didn't what's his chops with his Iron Islands fleet come along and just trying to like plow over them, and just drown them more?
I was saying, with the bit where Tyrion's talking to Cersei,
it's
like, what if they just fired a scorpion at Tyrion, just ending there? Can you imagine if he was just looking up and talking?
But if they were to do that to, is it Missandei?
Yeah.
Why, if it was that motivating and it was that much of a statement, it would have made sense to do just that.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They let him walk away. It's just like, it's because
I was half expecting the archer to fire like a row of arrows on the ground, like going, "Go no further or you die." That would be kind of thing, which would have looked quite cool. And Tyrion's like, "Ooh,
yeah, you can do no more talking now. Like we're coming to the end."
Qyburn is sleazy. I love the actor who plays him. He's perfect, isn't he? The other hand of the queen, should we say?
Yeah, I mean,
hello there.
He is.
Because he's the Dragonfire creator, isn't he? The like kind of Greek fire-esque thing. Yeah.
It was the bit where they were like, I think Tyrion was saying, "Oh, we don't want to hear the screams of children in the King's Landing," and he's like, "Yes, it doesn't sound very good because obviously they blew up the I can't remember what it's called, crypto.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, and then you hear the screaming and that, and Cersei. There's that shot of Cersei smiling over King's Landing as you hear the screams going. Crypt of Baelor, I think it was.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. So he is such an evil character, you can tell, and they work so well together. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, are we doing quick predictions? Should we?
I wouldn't even know where to start. I think that's what they've done well.
I think it feels like they're just going to brush her over. I think maybe Daenerys loses the fleet. What she obviously they're saying that she might just rush in now, and then that'll be it.
I mean, you saw the angry look upon her face.
Yeah,
like she is like hell bent now to destroy King's Landing entirely. So I think Will's original prediction of there'll be no throne because the dragon destroys it.
Yeah.
I think it's just
it makes sense, but it becomes such a hypocritical thing. You've made 7 seasons to build up this character to then
then suddenly switch him over to,
and you are now essentially the Mad Queen.
And now she's essentially rage quit.
Yeah.
She's essentially rage quitting. Is what's happening.
She did lose everything in that episode, to be fair, didn't she? Oh, pretty much.
She lost another dragon. Obviously she's losing Jon. Because I'm like, you're my aunt.
Good point.
She's seeing everyone loves Jon, and no one goes
Jorah.
over to her. She's lost Jorah, although finally Jorah got a kiss. Although I'll bite on the head while dead. Bless him.
When they were at the battle table and they started taking the pieces away. Apparently, so what? They still have half their army.
Because it looked like the Unsullied were just fairly unaffected when they were marching out.
I thought the Dothraki were gone.
I mean, most of them now must be dead from the Scorpions going through the boats. Most of them must now be down.
Well, we saw the little troops.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
So I mean,
It's all a bit
her
confusing.
army, I think, is pretty much a bit of an overstatement. I'd probably say it's just like a little battalion.
And are those huge crossbows called scorpions?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. These
They
are
look
the new
There's
ones.
so many of them.
That makes that dragon pathetic. In
So,
yeah,
comparison.
the dragon
what
in theory has
useless.
been neutralized.
Since the last time we saw them in the crypts, they've actually been like upgraded. So Kaiban's done more work on them now. So that's why you saw him in like the back seat, being able to control it and being more accurate. And they've changed the arrows, so when they fire, they like open up as they spin. So they're meant to just take out whole chunks of dragon as they get passed through.
Yeah.
The animation on that death was insane. Like,
That was the best part of the
when it
episode.
went
That was
through the neck. I was
Great-
like,
great
my God, that
CGI.
is definitely gone.
One thing I was happy about, just a slight addition before we close, was I really wanted there to be some interaction between Jon and Daenerys. I really enjoyed that scene because he didn't want the throne. I'm really happy that he did say, you know, I bend the knee to you, you're my queen. Yes, obviously her response was her response, but the way Jon was and the way he just ignored it in the end of the last episode, it really frustrated me. So I'm actually
it hasn't gone to his head sort of
yeah,
thing.
I enjoyed that kind of closure of them being able to talk about it, and you know they are in love, whatever the incestual circumstances are. I did like the fact that he did say, you know, this is the situation no matter what happens. Albeit, you know, it didn't get the best response, but I felt closure, and I enjoyed that scene primarily because he stayed true to his character and actually was just honest, and I was really pleased with that. It was actually one of my favourite scenes because of that. Obviously, yeah, there you go. That's
I do like the pass down of secrets as well, where Jon's like, go on then, tell him. And then
don't tell anyone.
Sansa's like, tells Tyrion, don't tell anyone. And then Tyrion tells her, well, it's information now.
Oh God, that is he
Oh,
will
dear.
spread that to his birds.
Oh, yeah.
And the birds will flutter, and then Cersei will be like, I know. Yeah, interesting things. Well,
Yeah.
we'll have a recap of next week's episode in our next week's episode.
Hopefully it's a biggie.
Hopefully it's a goodie. Hopefully there is some fight and some dragons and some swords and I don't know, some fighting of some description. Anywho, otherwise that pretty much wraps up this episode of Where's My Kit Bag, the podcast version. Obviously you can follow us on all the social media. Where, Steve?
at F6 Media Film.
Boom. And yeah, obviously follow us on our YouTube page as well. If you just search TechNet, you will find us. Just look for the little TechNet eye. Otherwise, I've been James.
I'm Will.
And I'm Steve.
And this has been Where's My Kit Bag podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Where's My Kit Bag podcast. Feel free to tune in every week to listen to us ramble on about all our good stuff we mentioned in the podcast. Thank you very